Yo, hey, can you hear me? You listening?
WAW. What a week.
What a week.
Eta, welcome to another episode of WOW, What a Week. Our guest this week, Lionel Richie, wrote a song about her probably 10, 15 years before she was even born. She's played a troubled teen. She's played a gone girl. Next on WOW, What a Week.
This is
Wow!
What a Week.
What a week. Celebrity guest.
Celebrity guest.
Getting straight into it, our guest is in the building. She flew all the way from Durban to be on the show today.
Yes.
And then she's going to fly back to Durban because she's a fly girl also, clearly. Like I said, there's a song about her. Lionel Richie knew about her before she was even born. He foretold that there would be a Zulu maiden one day that would be able to dance around on her toes. And one day keep other thespians on their toes.
Ooh.
Please, make some noise. Not for me, the freestyle rapper, once in a while, but for our guest today, actress, dancer, Sibongiseni, Shezi.
Thank you.
Hey, girl.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
I should be a rapper, ne?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
freestyle is my
Or
thing.
a poet, you know.
I think I will do
all
that.
of it.
Let me tell you what it is, though. If your career does not inspire me, you'll never get that out of me. So that which activates that in me has to be great first. So if you're mediocre, you're probably going to get a mediocre intro from me. So
Oh, wow.
so it's all your fault in the big scheme of things.
Oh, wow.
How
I'm
you-
humbled, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good. Excited to be here. And what an honor and a privilege. I can't believe it's like, I'm a djfreshsa.
Hold on. So you flew all the way just for this interview?
Just for you.
Oh, wow.
Just for this place.
That is
Just
so
right
dope.
now, yeah.
I want to ask the question that you've been asked before.
Yes.
Why are you based in KZN when so much is happening this side, in Joburg?
Well, look, I think it's all fate, you know. There was a season where I tried to go. I studied in Cape Town for years.
Yeah.
I then had to come back home. Took a gap year, as it were, before I went to film school. And naturally, the trajectory was that, once I graduate in live performance, I will get a job in Joburg.
Sure.
And then by the time I graduated, just before I actually graduated, then I got a role on Umjolo.
Okay.
And which, I mean,
Is this before you graduated from your second qualification?
yes.
Okay, this was after.
This is after now.
Okay,
Yeah. First one I didn't finish.
Okay.
And then, so when I went to after now, it's towards the end of it's 2018. So towards the end of that year, October, they were starting to introduce a new family
Sure.
in October, in the end of the season, season 4. And then I was going to play a friend of one of the characters.
Sure.
And then, so, I mean, at the time, I was what, 27, 28? And I had to play like a 16-year-old.
Sure.
So, then we got that, just crossed my fingers and hoped for the best for the following year, and then the contract continued. And then, but I continued to try.
Sure.
So it was 2019 going, and then I started coaching in Durban and in Nanda. I started so many other opportunities. I did theatre productions, assisting in that.
Sure.
And then COVID happened. Then once COVID happened, then it was self-tapes, you know, and my agency that I'm a part of sent me a lot of briefs, and I sent a lot of self-tapes, but it was a lot of no's.
Yeah.
It was a lot of no's. And it just...
In fact, your industry probably has 99% no's. But we never find out about those.
It feels like it. It
Yeah.
definitely does. 99.5.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
definitely does. And it's just having to deal with all of that and staying afloat. And I just couldn't take the risky plunge of just coming to the city
Sure.
when I had 2 jobs in Durban.
Oh, yes.
And but I grew spiritually. I grew patience, a lot of grace for pace, and understanding that I really I will run as fast as I can, as Kerry Washington says, for the bus. And if I catch the bus, then it was for me. If
Sure.
it misses me, and so I think every time I've come to Joburg, something brings me back to KZN. So I think KZN just loves me.
Sure.
And we love each other.
Daughter of the soil.
Yes, of the water, of the soil, of the agriculture, of the mountains. I there's something about home. In Kabayam buried, at Clermont, proudly so.
I was about to say, Clermont 101. If you were to take me there this weekend, where would we go?
We would probably go to, I'd first take you to, there's many places. I could take you to Tate,
Okay.
have inyama ya Tate, take you to a top ranki, which Tate is off that. Top
Okay.
rank is Zazi Road. There's Comfort Zone as well, just as you enter.
Yeah.
I like to hang around I live in 40th Avenue, so there's a place called the Snookin.
Okay.
And
Let me
so I have a
guess,
lot
you
of
play
friends.
snooker there.
Well, amongst other things, and usually just hanging with my buddies there.
Yeah.
There's another hangout spot called the Slahleni. Hey, I'm gonna tell my boys to watch this when it comes out. They're gonna be so happy. Shout out.
Yeah. Claremont tourism, baby.
Yes. But yeah, it's more about like the. We like the simple things, man.
Sure.
We're not people who like the rah-rah. So it's more about ubudlelwane, like just the crate, turning it around, sitting. We're laughing about the latest thing we've seen.
Sure,
know. So shouting out one another, putting each other on. Everybody's from every different walk of life.
Sure.
I'm the only one that went my direction, so it's very interesting.
So from your bunch of friends, what's everyone else doing?
Oh, they're all over the place. I have my film school friends.
Sure.
I have my best friend who's a director, and others who are cinematographers, editors, just in the film world.
Sure.
And then I have friends who are doctors. One of my best friends also a speech language pathologist. Fellow actors, engineers,
Jeez.
Uber drivers.
I don't have as many friends as you have named on your finger. How many friends do you have? Jeez.
I love people. I love getting to know people. I love rapport. I love
Sure.
just, it's been the past 20-30 minutes of meeting everybody in studio has
Sure.
been, that's what I love to do in general. So
Your fondest childhood memory of growing up in Claremont?
fondest,
Yeah.
wow, tricky. Look, my father always ensured that because I went to a Model C school, I went to Holy Family College.
Sure.
So my dad, my sister, who is much older than myself, they took taxis a lot. And then once my dad married my mom, and then I was born, he had already built a house for her. And so
okay.
by the time I was going to school, my dad had made a change in his career so that he'd be more available. And that's why I'm very much a daddy's girl, because
Sure.
my dad then, we were joined at the hip. So he would take me to school, take me from school, I never took taxis, I was
Sure.
barely out the house. But I think then my fondest memories would be the moments when my neighbors would, because then I became the girl, like, the girl that seemed trapped, or
Sure.
was like the Model C girl that just never leaves the house. So the moments when like I'd have neighbors and friends that would trust to come over,
Sure.
and we just swim at home, or they take me to play mascosi or like utritini and getting dirty,
Sure.
and really feeling a part of the community.
Absolutely.
I think that is my fondest, and funnily enough, it's happened more post my accreditation, like when I went to UCT, when I went to AFDA, when I started taking taxis. I think people started to see the humanity in me, and they were like, "Oh, you're actually down to earth. Oh, you actually don't mind getting dirty." And I'm like,
Oh, you
if
speak
anything-
isiZulu. Oh, okay.
No, that was cool, you know. And all of that. It's like I've so childhood wise, it would be those moments when I could be outside, and
Yeah.
not to say that my parents didn't allow me to. It just also for myself, I didn't know what to do.
Sure.
And then it's my best memories have happened over the past, I would say, decade.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which scent always takes you back home without fail? So for me, my scent is every year as soon as the morula tree would bear fruit, there'd be morula everywhere. And we'd harvest the morula, and that would be our snack, you know, whether we're looking after my grandmother's goats or my dad's
Yes.
cattle. So my childhood is always morula. Weirdly enough, you'd think I'd love amarula because of that, but I don't. I don't drink amarula because
Yes.
of that. But so for me, it's just the scent of a ripe morula fruit that takes me back to my childhood. What scent takes you back home?
That's a beautiful question. You know, honestly, there's a specific aroma that my mother's home cooked meal gave the entire household. So this it was the hug, and it became occasions where it would be like, because mom would say, I only cook when I want to cook when I want to, or when I
Okay.
feel like it. And Sunday was mandatory, and we all had to sit across the table, and she simmer cooks on one pot, one plate,
Yup.
and we would, whether we're eating at 11 o'clock at night or whatever, but it would be the most fruitful, like a worthwhile wait.
Sure.
So every single time, I mean, I was once asked, what is my favorite scent? And I was like, my mom's cooking. And they were like, no, we mean like perfume. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. So I think a home-cooked meal, but like, it's very specific to
Tomorrow.
mom,
Yeah.
you know, like like lamb. And because I moved to a city-esque place, and I've had to be self-sufficient because like I
Sure.
live alone. So sometimes Uber Eats takeaway, that's just convenient. But then sometimes when I'm driving down and leaving the place that I stay, and then you get a whiff of like potato bake, or like that savory rice with that Indian lamb curry, or like a lamb rib chops, then I'm just like,
Yeah.
and then you call, and then
Absolutely.
that's, I think, is the most pungent thing that takes me to the address Yasekaya specifically, has been that cooking style.
That is dope.
Yeah, and I want to cultivate that for myself too.
Now, earlier on, we spoke about how a lot of your industry a lot of your career as an actor becomes dealing with rejection.
Yes.
So you're currently, I think you guys are still number one on Netflix. Umjolo, the Gone Girl. She's the staring, guys. You must watch that movie. Dope movie. You guys are currently number one. But when you look at, for instance, the euphoria that comes with being in the current number one movie on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Versus all the no's that you've had to deal with. How do you juggle both emotions and almost make peace with the fact that, yeah, once in a while you do win, actually?
Funny, that last line actually is the funny part where it's like, you know, has one made peace with sometimes you do, and you know, I'm really, the journey of shooting, prior to shooting Umjolo, or getting Umjolo to shooting it to after, has really grounded me and made me revere the present.
Sure.
As such a gift. And so I think there isn't, more than anything, I just keep getting humbled by the fact, by any positive response. Not because I'm gunning for or looking for the negative only, or like I just have a negative mindset. It's just that thing of I've had to learn the patience, the humility, the grace, and all of that kind of stuff. It's also it's changed my rhetoric in the way that I teach, in terms of like, it'll look like, I was like, this is the first time I'm playing a character that's my age.
Yeah.
So it keeps looking like everything happened instantly for me. It's taken a while.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's like a, every single moment. It's almost like Hleziphi's character, where she's just so present. So what she's feeling right now is right now. So any compliment that's coming about the film, people telling me that it's still number one, I'm like, I've almost been running away from finding anything out.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it good? Is it bad? Is it great? No, I don't want to know. And everyone's been teasing me about the fact that we know how you are. You get overwhelmed easily, and it's true. I do, because when it's a lot of good, you don't want to get lost in the sauce. So it's like, okay. So I think right now, what I'm taking from what you're saying, it's a really good feeling. Sorry, I'm also a crier. She's
Jeez. Okay.
Shezi.
Two criers on set. Great.
Yes. Justice for criers. Oh.
Criers need love too.
Criers matter too.
We don't just need Kleenex. We need love.
Amen. Yes. So I think, it's just taking that in, being here right now, being interviewed by the likes of greatness, and saying such kind words, I receive, and I the main input, like the main modus operandi, and goal of taking on a leading role of this magnitude, and really showing up for the task, was for impact, was was more for the conversation it would generate, and really to just make the country proud, you know, in a way. Like I that's what I care about. I care about impact. I care about stories, and being the right stories being told, the relatable stories being told. That is the main thing for me. So it's just that number one is not something that inflates my ego more than it makes me so proud of the family of Umjolo that created the show. I'm happy for all of us. I'm like, guys,
yes,
yay.
we did it.
We did it, you know. And more than anything, I'm just like, hey, I showed up I'm grateful to God for trusting me as a vessel. But every other contributing factor, hair, makeup, cine, directing, creator, producing, standbys, ADing, every single department, like I just see us all, and then my co-stars and my castmates, it's like I just see the amplification of their excellence.
Absolutely.
It's just talent on talent on talent.
Umjolo, the Gone Girl.
Yebo.
Who should watch it? Why should we watch it?
Okay, so I think first of all, it is PG-16.
Not 13. It's 16.
Absolutely not.
It's 16.
13.
Okay, 16. Okay.
It's 16.
So my 16-year-old daughter can watch it.
That would be for you, sir. You would have to.
No, but you've seen some of the scenes in there.
I was I'd say.
When you were 16.
Let's go 18.
When you were 16, would your dad have let you watch that?
No, my dad can't even handle me kissing a boy on screen. He can't.
Yo.
He can't take it.
But he knows there's sex in this one, right?
I'm not trying to speed up a heart attack for my dad. Like, I'm really not. It's just that I'm just showing him all the BTS, all the, I told my sister, I was like, if you watch it with them, just skip. Because you've seen it now. Now you know.
You know where to skip.
But it is relatable to us millennials. But my 2K.
Sure.
But it's relatable to even Gen X. Like any South African or anybody who wants to understand the world of Umjolo.
Sure.
And relationships.
And the realities that a lot of couples are dealing with.
The realities of a lot of couples, and if you want to see something that relates to that or are intrigued by that, Umjolo the Gone Girl is definitely for you because, wow.
In fact, one of the themes in the movie that I've always found fascinating is how a lot of guys will often talk about how almost like they feel they could handle an open relationship. But the idea of someone else being on top of your woman just fucked with your head.
Never. And that's the thing. And that's the thing. It's like, it's so easy. I mean, I remember that scene when we had to shoot it.
Yeah.
And I recall the creative producer. First, I was the rose among the thorns.
Yes.
And all the men were ganging up on me, talking about, all that stuff, and that, I mean, at the end of the day, luck will always be your weakness, blah 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 blah. And she came back with the thing of, but you can also play it as you can see he's spiraling.
Yes.
So it's like, and I'm like, actually. That's so true because you totally you're spiraling right now. So it's been very, it's very real that I think men are incredibly prideful. They think they've figured it all out. And takes you back to Genesis in the Bible when it says, when the Lord saw that man is not good enough on his own, he needs a suitable helper.
Yeah.
I am here to assist.
Yes.
And I think a lot of men just want their cake and they want to eat it too. Actually, let me not make it a blanket statement, but there's quite a few. Out there where it's like they don't necessarily lean into their fragility or their I mean, if men could just focus on their mental health, I think it could save a lot of heartache and heartbreaks.
The sad thing is a lot of our mental health almost becomes linked to the relationships we're in the first place. But we never want to admit that it is linked to that relationship.
And not necessarily romantic relationships.
Any relationship.
Any relationship, yes.
And that is why often women eventually get over the breakup quicker than men. Because women take the time to go through the breakup or to go through the relationship trauma. Whereas more often than not, we jump into the next relationship thinking we're fixing that which we're running away from. But we're just, because we haven't dealt with it, it then starts haunting you. And then you bring it into the next relationship. And then the cycle continues.
It becomes a toxic cycle,
Absolutely.
indeed.
Absolutely.
So I think, in all honesty, just if men explored their vulnerability more, and really just owned up to their truth as well, you know what I mean? And then I also say, then for us women as well, to also you know, self-love and self-empowerment is so important. It is so important because, you know, we tend to be naturally sacrificial.
Sure.
So we will take the compromise. You saw Gletsu's decisions at some point, led to the Gone Girl, that is.
Sure.
And it's you know, we lean into giving opportunities, chances. We're trying to like help the man open up a bit more, love better, see me and love me, all that kind of stuff. And I think you end up compromising and letting go a lot of your standard and values, and then you find yourself lost in this thing.
Sure.
And so it's easy to manipulate, which creates this false sense of power in the man, and then creates this, you know, victim mentality in the woman.
Sure.
In most cases.
How much of the movie or Lethu's character could you relate to?
I related to Lethu's heart a lot. And honestly, the dating pool, i.e. the streets, i.e. Umjolo, is a wild ride. And I related to the shock and awe. I related to the compromising aspects where it's like you're trying to be a fixer, so you're trying to fix things.
Or you think it'll get better?
You think it'll get better? Of course, you lead with hope.
When the first 20 red flags were all you needed.
Yes, you lead with hope. And I think the major thing about Lethu's brief when I auditioned for the role was I immediately was drawn to her being a lover of love.
Sure.
And a hopeless romantic. And to be a wedding planner was even hearts in my eyes. I love weddings. So I was like, oh, this is me, Mos. You know, she's my age. This is me. This is me. This is me. And and that is what I had to trust going into the audition room about, like leaning more towards truth. Instead of putting on a character or putting on a performance.
Sure.
I just kind of leaned into my realities, and I've gone through waves of experiences, and my mental health journey has been one that I've been very intentional about, and
Sure.
I think then by the time I was shooting Umjolo, I wasn't in a perfect season at all. And it coming out makes me, I feel the exhale that Lethu does at the end when it's like.
So is the timing perfect then?
It's God sent. It's more than perfect.
Like, let me send you to work, but also help you fix something.
Yes, literally. That's how I felt every day. I just felt like it was a lot. And my therapist she racked it in terms of me going to go see her, you know. A lot of my friends carrying and holding space, you know. It really was art imitating life, imitating art, and more than anything, I wanted to root for Lethu, you know, as just sort of like an existential or like a way of me rooting for myself for a change.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so, I felt that.
Sure.
I felt myself rooting for her, and I was like. You know, and for a moment, you know, you're watching it objectively and you're not like, you know, and I'm seeing myself in her and I'm not seeing the body as being the one who has done it.
Sure.
And so I you know, getting lost in it. And I think that's why I've watched it so many times to see all the other nuances, not to criticize myself in any way. It's like the first time that I'm sitting in truth. I'm sitting in the genuine. I'm sitting in what's right now.
Sure.
And it's like, yes, invest in yourself, love yourself, like pour into yourself, and it is okay to have made the choices that you made. Like I give Lethu so much grace for going back for
being dumb, basically. The thing is, I don't want to say too much because we don't want to give away the storyline. I mean, the movie is only a week old, so we
Yeah.
can't like have spoilers.
True.
In the
fair,
interviews. Yeah.
fair.
Although I'm a bit disappointed that she got cold feet. I can't say too much because I don't want to ruin the storyline. But I'm a bit disappointed that she got cold feet, though.
She didn't get cold feet.
But she did. She got cold feet because she was like, okay, we're going to both drink from the same bottle.
Okay, let's run with the metaphor.
But in the bigger scheme of things, she never drank from that bottle. She kind of had...
Because she realized she doesn't like alcohol.
But that's what I'm saying, though, that I was actually there for her, showing him that we can actually drink from the same bottle.
Oh, so that's you rooting for Lucky.
No, that's me rooting for Letu. Because I felt that until Lucky actually gets a taste of his own medicine.
Oh, but I found it more empowering.
Yeah, that she didn't have to go that far.
She didn't have to go low.
I hear you.
You know?
I hear you.
She took a higher road that wasn't even, and it wasn't performed. It was genuine. So it was one of those things where it's like, I'd rather stand on my own business.
Absolutely.
Than perpetually trying to go for the jugular for the next person. You know what I mean? Like, I feel more empowered because I'm like, I didn't have to actually drink liquor.
But I think we need more storylines like that.
That go for the jugular?
That I'm going to be as petty as you are and drink the liquor that you're drinking.
And I think...
Once in a while, we need storylines that go there.
And I think we're starting conversations that are leaving room for writers and creatives to go that
Sure.
route. You know, I mean, for a long time we haven't trusted ourselves. You know, us KZN-based artists, South African-based artists, you know, all of that kind of stuff, and the courage and the bravery it takes to just start,
Sure.
to be the first to do it is it's a lot. It's taxing.
Sure.
So I think now that these kinds of conversations are starting to happen and there's this kind of representation, then you can explore all the avenues of drinking from the same bottle.
Sure.
Actually, you know what I mean? Actually, I'm good with that water.
I want to have more shots than you.
I'm going to have more shots than you. You know what I mean? Because that's also a part, and that's why also Umjolo is not only the Gone Girl. There'll be 3 other installments.
Are you in all of them? Did you sign a contract?
Become a thread, but I'm the leading lady of Gone Girl.
Okay.
So the others will have, you saw the leading ladies of each installment that's to come, volume 2, 3, and 4, in my volume. Just like
okay, so it'll be the same cast.
Yes.
But different steering ability, basically.
Yes,
Okay.
essentially. So now it's like a window into this person's personal life, and so
And
you may just get somebody drinking from the same bottle.
And you guys actually left beautiful space for that to happen. So shout out to the writers.
Yay, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Because now that I'm thinking about it, there's actually space to develop the other storylines.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That is
and
dope.
that's what's been exciting to see
Yeah.
people's response of when season 2 is, and it's like, just
Yeah.
wait.
One
They're
thing
coming.
one thing I noticed though, because like I said, I mean, you said it's what, PG-16,
Yes.
rated R. Is it-
PG-16, PG-16.
What is it rated though?
What do you mean rated?
What is R? Is it just PG-16 and nothing else?
PG-16.
Okay. No, because like I said, there's very intimate scenes, but I've also noticed that yours were curated differently. Was that written like that, or was this you saying I prefer it like that?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
It was written in a way that had to show. You needed to show the juxtaposition
Sure.
between her scenes and the other ones,
Okay.
because of what they represented, right?
Okay.
And so it was written in a very poetic,
Sure,
as poetic
sure.
as we would have hoped it would
So
have been
the
represented.
scenes themselves were intentional. They told their story by themselves.
Well,
as is. Okay.
that's what we had hoped to do, you know, as then the vessels to bring it to life. And then I have to give a proper shout out to the intimacy coach that was on set, Sarah Blecher. We had two, but Sarah Blecher was the one who worked for the majority, if not all, of Volume 1.
Sure.
Well, The Gone Girl. That was my first experience of intimacy coaching.
Sure.
And that is a very thorough process of when we're doing the table read, she is present, you know, and there is a conversation about every single thing. So it's very, it's discussed, it's workshopped.
It's choreographed.
It's choreographed for safety reasons as well. And then we get to, and I found it beautiful for Sarah to turn almost any analogy when it came to scenes that were intimate, to turn them into a dance, you know? And I think she was just leaning into what my vocabulary is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it was like, oh, okay, we're doing a choreography. Okay, I feel a little bit safer here. Okay, I you know, and then chemistry and
ultimately that's what it is, though. I mean you look at, for instance, martial arts movies and how impressive they look, but because it's like a dance, you can't afford to get your moves wrong.
Yes.
Because how I move is inextricably linked to how you're going to move.
Indeed.
So if you get it wrong, I might even hurt you.
Yes.
Because you got the choreography wrong.
Yes.
So it's like that even with intimacy scenes.
Definitely. And that's why it's important to also be honest.
Sure.
Before you even get into all of that stuff.
So your honesty was what, though, when you're discussing all of this? What were you not willing to allow to happen or to show in these conversations?
Well, what you didn't see is what I preferred not to be shown.
Okay.
Yeah. So as
the reason I'm asking you is some people, for instance, would agree to do certain scenes in a certain way because they're afraid they might be recast if they don't show up for the party. You know what I mean?
And we were...
So how do you juggle the fear of being recast, because maybe that's the direction the movie is taking or the series is taking, with these are my principles and you guys are going to shoot around those, or I'd rather be recast then?
Well, I mean, and that's the importance of the conversation in the beginning, you know, and Stained Glass was very intentional about ensuring the safe set, ensuring, I think Netflix was as well, and everybody that was on board. So the conversation in the table reads, the one-on-ones with Sarah, the intimacy coach, and really delving into the intricate parts of like what is okay and what isn't okay, and then having somebody stand firm on your behalf at VT to be like it's a red zone.
Sure.
And also having the voice for yourself. So I mean, I had the jitters prior to the table read of, I don't know what's going to be asked. What am I going to say? Yes, no. But the conversation disarmed me.
Sure.
And then I was like, okay, so I'll be a part of making this come to life.
Sure.
It's collaborative, and they're ensuring that I'm gonna be okay, and really encouraging me using my voice. So I had to use my voice, and then I was fortunate to have a scene partner that also is very respectful. But as artists, we had each other's back, and we had this thing called the trust hug. I will always shout out to the trust hug, where it's like we discovered it on our first intimacy session, where it was like just as two people who know each other that are going to work together and really get along and have good chemistry. Let's find the hugging point that says I've got you and you got me. Once there's noise, you can get lost in the noise. And I think that we'd fall back into doing a trust hug, and then we knew, okay,
Well, yeah.
we got this.
And Tyson is a
got
cool
this.
kid.
Very cool.
Like he's so cute.
That's my G.
He's from what? Richards Bay. Yeah, I
It's
think-
Kawin,
Yeah,
yes,
he's from
yes,
Richards Bay. Yeah.
yes. But and he's been based here though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the move. Yeah, no, we got along instantly, and more than anything, I mean, I know he's jovial and fun and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff,
yeah.
but deep care, deep
Yeah.
kindness, very aware, you
Sure.
know. So we connected on those fronts, and it's our Netflix debut together. So we both were just like, it's the first time I'm number one.
Sure.
On the very first one. And he's like, hey, it's the first time I'm number two. And I'm like, ah. So we really had we had so much passion going into it, you know, like we were on high alert. Okay, I'm going right. You know, we get there early, leave last.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Tyson had a gang intimate scenes, like gang intimate scenes.
Well, rather him
Welcome
than
to
me.
the world, dog. In fact, we must actually get him in here to talk about his career. 'Cause like I said,
Yeah, totally.
He's such a cool kid.
No, totally, for sure. Definitely awesome vibe, and gets along with almost anybody, and really created, like I say, we both created a safe space for one another to be like,
Sure.
okay, for let's we're lucky now this is our baby. So
Absolutely.
we don't want it to look like others or something that's come before,
Sure.
or the predictable or conventional.
Sure.
So how do we, and we already had a unique language as performing artists and friends. Now as the characters.
I need you to put on your headphones, actually.
Okay. Guess
just
Okay.
there you go. In fact, this is from one of your co-stars, incidentally.
Please don't, and please,
What?
please
Hey
don't.
Amanda, hope you're good. I am fabulous. So, working with Sibongiseni Shezi was truly enriching. Hey, her professionalism and dedication are inspiring, as she fully immersed herself in a role that, on its own, it motivated me to do more, to want to do more, you know, and to do some research. She's that girl who will always motivate you when you're around her. Despite talented, she's very warm, she's approachable and very supportive, always fostering a supportive atmosphere on set. You always laugh. She'll make everyone laugh. She's that happy girl. When you're around her, you have no choice but to be happy. I love her so much. I enjoyed working with her. It was a blend of learning and fun. Which is making her a true gem in this industry. I mean, we need more people like that. She's I am so grateful to have this opportunity to have worked with someone as talented as Shezi. Thank you.
Love you
Hold on.
too, Queen.
Well done.
Damn, did I just say Shezi?
Of course
Oh
you
my
did.
gosh, my bad. What I wanted to say is, I am grateful for the opportunity to have worked with someone as talented and kind-hearted as Sibongiseni Shezi. She's amazing. She's beautiful. She's lovely. She's bubbly. Love her energy. She's amazing. I love her. I've never met someone like that. Ngathi unenhliziyo yengane. Yabona ingane uyilimaza manje ikhohlwe manje. She's, oh my God, bless her. Love her.
That's from your co-star, Tobeka.
Yes, I can hear.
Tell us about working with Tobeka.
Okay. I did say I'm a crier.
It's fine.
Okay.
Take your time.
God bless her, man. Those are really kind words. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. On our very first day of meeting each other, you know, there was the jitters of we should finding a language of being best friends of many years, but I'm meeting you today.
Sure.
And we're shooting today. And so it was, we were a little bit like, nervous, but I think we had this thing about being open enough to allow the other to hold the other's hand,
sure.
So we were not like, there wasn't an era of like pride or competition or anything like that. Like, we immediately saw each other as contributing factors to the story. So I think the amazing thing about working with the Tobega is that, like, we were able to find surrender together.
Sure.
And that's how friends become best friends, and
we're not competing, we're part of the same cake.
we're part of the same cake.
So can I ingredient a new ingredient and let's not fight?
Exactly, and that was the beautiful thing. There was just and the more we got to know each other, and the more we allowed one another to be ourselves in each other's spaces, we found, there's room. It's like they were giving something else, and we were always shouting each other out, always queening one another, always, not to try and foster like some kind of like tightness so that we
Sure.
look believable on screen. It just naturally happened that way. It was genuine and real. And I mean, I could say how I felt, but I had no idea that's how she felt too.
And how or that you inspired her.
I'm in awe that I inspire anyone.
You kick ass, dude. You must never doubt that. And when you kick ass, you will inspire people. You can't kick ass in a vacuum, sadly. Should we wait for you to finish?
No, I'm good. I'm taking it in. But thank you. I'm humbled by that. And I'm just the cast of Umjolo, they did an impeccable job with casting, and they just, it's almost like each and every single one of us would say, like, are they like following us around, like in our personal lives, and then finding a way to put it in the script, like what's happening, because it just went kaka.
Sure.
Like it just
Came together.
puzzle pieces. It came together. Synergistic alliance.
Sure.
All of it was beautiful. I wouldn't have wanted to share any of that with anybody other than the people who are right there, right then.
That is dope. Now, we are in the middle of 16 days of activism against women and child abuse.
Yes.
What's the closest you've come to being in an abusive relationship? And often we think abuse is physical. But abuse could be anything. It could be financial abuse. It could be, I've made you quit your job to come and live with me, and now I make sure that you're dependent on me to such an extent that you even don't know how to ask me for money, for instance. It could be emotional abuse. It could be anything. How have you navigated abuse or near abuse or abuse red flags in your relationships?
I think, first of all, shout out to my counsel in terms of my inner sanctum of people that I can speak to. They have held me down in a lot of places that perhaps I might not have been as aware, they have held me down spiritually. They've held me down in the ugly. And when I say sanctum, I include the healthcare professionals that I see as well. So that has helped me a lot. I think fostering a relationship, a deeper and more intentional relationship with my spirituality with God has helped me find peace after the turbulence, you know. And I think the most major thing that I have learned is self-forgiveness and realizing the necessity for the unique to my own story and journey. Everything happens for a reason. Everything had its necessary role. Did I deserve it? No. However,
is this you saying in a roundabout where you've been there and walked that journey?
Of course. I think in some or other level, there's an element of finding love and all of that kind of stuff that can be tricky.
Sure.
You know, red flags are they're different. You know, for different people, like you were listing, like varying forms of abuse. You know, that they don't look one way. You know, and that's also why we have 4 installments of Umjolo, so that we don't only show one perspective of whether it be abuse, whether it be taking advantage, whether it could be, you know what I mean? I mean, Hleziphi could have only come to life in the way that she did.
Yes.
Because I've come to terms with wounds
She had to go
that
through
I've
the fire.
acquired.
She had to go through the fire.
She had to go through that furnace and come out the other side and choose to live. And that's been my one of my crowning achievements. You know, understanding that, like, you know, the oblivion of love and romance and the sweet stuff. And I've always prayed to not have my heart hardened, you know. I've also learned to release expectation, like, and things like that. And then being able to say no sooner. Or actually just practicing better discernment, you know. And if something happens, it's okay. Now dust yourself off and carry on, you know what I mean? And you can take back your life. You can own your throne. You can redeem all that time that you might have felt was lost. You know what I mean? So it's not all doom and gloom. I think I sat in, like, righteous indignation and justice for Seni, justice for Letu for a very long time. And then until, you know, you get to a place where it's like, okay, now I need to do it for myself. I hear what others are saying to me. I hear what my own toxic thoughts are saying to me. At some point, I need to decide to get up and be fine. And I think that trajectory line of just a woman experiencing what she experiences, and if unfortunately it turns out to be an ugly experience, you know, getting on the other side of being grateful of everybody who held your hand along the way, and also self-validate and be proud of the fact that you could have really gone to a dark place and never gotten out, you know.
You
could have died, literally, and look at you living, you know. And I think also don't isolate as well. I think it's that can isolation as a form of running away can also be dangerous in a sense, but also just us as a community just fostering an environment where it's safe enough for people to be able to say.
But sadly also, sometimes that isolation you refer to is not even intentional.
No, yeah.
The way your relationship is structured, it's almost like you're in prison.
Yeah.
So inadvertently you're isolating because now you can't hang out with your friends.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't go to the Chisanyama where you met me here. Now I can't go there anymore.
Yeah, it's a form of emotional abuse, indeed. And you can gloss it up and say, no, because I'm going to choose that over that. You know what I mean? I'm going to choose to not go out. Oh, because they love me. You know, you just try and put like a pretty bow over all these dark things. But that's why I say that, like, it's also, we have a role to play as the community as well, in as much as there's a responsibility in and of yourself. But, you know, sometimes these things find you not because, like, some people are just really, really ugly people. and also a savior mentality, thinking you can
I'll fix him.
fix the person, change the person. Let that go. Let that go. It's really okay. So I think when
You sound like you've tried to fix someone before.
you know what? I just a savior mentality in general in life.
Yeah.
I think I'm hopeful.
Sure.
I'm a hopeful person, not just romantically, just friendship wise, family wise, in every kind of way. It's been one of my Achilles heel.
Sure.
And what Tobeka was even saying when she was speaking about, like, just I make sure everybody is laughing or together and is happy. If somebody's sad or having a bad day on set, I feel the responsibility to lift that up, or so it's that thing that I've had to unlearn for myself and understand that you are responsible for your own salvation.
The one thing that stood out the most for me from what Tobeka was saying is the fact that you've got the heart of a child, that you keep it moving.
I do.
That yes, you hurt me, but got to keep it moving.
Because I don't like things that steal my joy. I think one of my greatest assets is being infectious in joy.
Sure.
So I like to believe that I am an encourager. I like to see other people
Sure.
in a good place, happy, smiling, giving you flowers. So I really, if something ugly has happened, I'm looking for the fastest but healthiest way out, because it's like kusizangani to be harboring bitterness from the day before the next day.
Absolutely.
That's been part of my healing. It's been to become more and more and more of somebody who's like, it's okay.
Speaking of healing, in the bigger scheme of things, you are meant to be a ballerina on big stages.
Yeah.
What happened?
Just a series of unfortunate events, and an injury. Injury was a major contributing factor.
Was it the car accident?
Yes, not just the car accident, because prior to that, like when I was doing my dance exams, I think when I was in matric, was my first experience of shin splints, and so like these new, because I'm starting to take dance more seriously.
Sure.
So. And being a perfectionist at the time, it was like I would over-rehearse. So it's like, it's not just about the hours in the studio.
So it's
the 5-6
Sure.
added extra hours in my room or on the pavement or whatever. So all these things that would happen, and then it would be like, at some point I thought my love for ballet was an unrequited love. Every time I chase after it, it somehow something would happen.
Something always shows up.
Something shows up. Whether it's my mental health that's now wavering, whether it's a toxic relationship, whether it's whether it's distractions, whether it's immaturity, something always came in the way.
So is it true then that ballerinas who are performing like top flight performances, it literally took blood, sweat and tears?
Yes. Literal blood, literal sweat, literal tears. For sure. I think what I revere about the ballet world, the dance world as a whole, but particularly the ballet world, is the pursuit of discipline. Discipline and the pursuit of excellence.
Sure.
And to be on top of your game. It doesn't come without its cons,
Sure.
which affect you not only physically but mentally as well and emotionally. But it's that discipline of you leave your problems at the door,
Sure.
and you're here to fight and get up and go and get up and go, and it hurts for now, go to the bathroom and come back 5 minutes later, and you've just got to do it, and you have to choose. You have to choose: am I going to sit and like rock myself crying and cradle my hurt, or am I going to again dust myself off and get up and go? And I think that discipline creates a work ethic and a drive like none other.
Do you remember the moment you made peace with the fact that it's okay, I'm not going to be a ballerina?
I would say I faked it for quite some time, but I genuinely found peace once I started, when I discovered that I have a gifting, calling to teach or to facilitate or to coach or to, I had never thought of that. I'd always thought of, I will until I have to retire and then become a choreographer, never dawned on me that I would ever become the one who is now imparting knowledge, And I think the fulfillment that came out of the fact that, the fulfillment that came out of seeing young kids discover their passion, discover that it's okay and that they can get better, and it's like, it felt, I was more...
And you did that, yeah.
I will receive, but just seeing young performing artists and that life, that for me shows me, and there were multiple times I've told my students that they've saved my life, because it's like, on even the worst day, if I'm dragging my feet to go to Inanda, to go and go teach, 10 out of 10 times, I will always leave that. Even if I left shouting at them, I would always leave feeling better, feeling a sense of value, and I didn't. I now realize that I'm more useful to the world if I impart knowledge in the upcoming youth, or inspire as well. So that's why I continue to work and do other things, so that I can come back and be like, you think this was easy? And they could see that it's possible, that Black child, it's possible. All of that stuff is what made me get to a place where it's like, you know what? Classical ballet, I love you with every part of me. I am now 32 years old, about to be 33. So it's okay. Let these other kids do the pliés and the tendus and the jumps, and I will Abby Miller, just without the toxic behavior.
Absolutely.
Dance moms, but that's how I've got.
So how often do you teach? And
once a week.
Once a week.
At the moment it's under a government-based NGO program.
Okay.
And we went from coaching inside to outside, and the more I fell in love with the youngins, the more I felt the need to invest in something of my own. Like now it's about responding to the core. It's been cute.
Sure.
And now it's like, okay, what else can we do, and how can we grow this thing that you care about equally, as much as you equally care about performing, you deeply care about the dance world and fostering proper talent.
So if there are other dancers, or there are corporates or people with money in Durban or the Inanda area who want to help you maybe take your dance teaching to another level, how do they get a hold of you? Like, is it on your social media? Is it an email address?
Well, you see, I'm learning as I go. Just networking in general. Yes, I mean, all my information is on my social media.
Sure.
So except my contact details.
So Seni Shezi.
Yes.
Okay.
So at Seni_Shezi on Instagram.
Okay.
At Seni Shezi on Twitter. And my TikTok is seni.shezi. So, and my email address is sibongs@hotmail.com. That is where anybody who is willing to reach out for that. I think I'm ready.
Sure.
I think I can.
You can.
There's something about.
That's why I just pushed you into the water
That's
now.
not yet.
You must swim. This girl, you can't keep putting your toe there and feeling if the water's cold.
Yes.
If nobody pushes you, you're going to keep just putting your toe in there.
Funny enough, I was just telling a cousin of mine, I was like, because she was saying, I'm so proud of your emotional growth, and I mean, we grew up together.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, because back in the day, it was volatile, hey, and I'm just the type of person where you just toss me in the deep end, or like as you're trying to be like, no, don't go, I jump in the deep end, and then I'll find my way. I'm an experienced girl. I'm like, let me experience it, then we'll work it out afterwards. So there's nothing about this that is too crazy for me. If anything, I see it as divine fate.
Would you say a part of you almost lost that daring part of you?
I did.
On your journey?
I did lose
Where
it.
had she gone? Who took her away?
Disappointment, heartache, not being able to deal with sadness. And so I'd stopped dreaming. I'd stopped being daring. Inner child Seni was just constantly looking at me like, really? Really?
We've come this far, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Come on, man. Get up, man. And I just, and it's a constant wrestle, and it's just, it's really slowly but surely. I mean, it was my dad who had an angiogram just 2 days ago, yesterday. Yeah, because I went to go see him in hospital, and I made him watch one of the interview clips, and and he looked at it and it was just like, because about 2 months prior he was like, there's a confidence, man, that I remember from when you were younger, and you went for everything.
Fearless.
You're fearless. To a point where it inspired me to just, and I was like, I inspired you, Dad, but then, and then him watching it then, and I was like, I've really been making an active, like clawing at trying to get back at who took it away and how to get it back. Sure. And so he had a moment of looking at it and it was just like, this is the girl I was talking about. Please. Like, now don't stop. Like, don't take your foot off the pedal, the gas. And I was like, well, you'd be happy to know that tomorrow's like, go. Like, I must just keep, it must just keep, So I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm in a boxing ring and I'm like, okay, let's go,
So us forcing you to fly to Joburg to do the podcast helped.
Yes, it did. It did. And I'm here, I could have said no. I could have, like just been too scared, been fearful, feeling unworthy, inadequate. I struggle with that sometimes.
Sure.
But it's feeling validated by it.
The other day you posted a video of self doing some ballet. And I think
When did I post it?
Well, I actually never checked the caption,
okay,
but or the date. But the caption almost implied that I'm gonna try get back on this horse again, even if just for this moment.
Yeah,
that must have felt good, though.
Yeah, it was so restorative.
Yeah,
like I
because this is the horse that's been.
Yeah.
Rejecting you or hurting you.
Yeah. I just felt it hug me back.
Yeah.
I felt it say we never left.
Sure.
I felt myself, even though I have less facility, like I'm not as much of a contortionist now or whatever, but my heart is dancing more. It's just more surrendered. It's accepting of right now, you know. And I think, and going back to my old ballet teacher was, I think it needed to happen that way, you know. And it was for, you know, Ozalo doesn't know what they did, but they also forced my hand into going back to ballet in a sense, because like it was written in the script, and then it was like, okay, so, gal.
So Ozalo changed your life in more ways than one.
Oh, stained glass.
Yeah.
Even Umjolo giving me my Netflix, my first one of one. They've. I ngiswela amazwi to in terms of the gratitude that I have towards the company holders, and them not being afraid to give new talent a chance or new stories a chance.
And I'm loving the fact that Stained Glass are unapologetically, we are based in KZN, and we are showcasing KZN talent.
Yes.
You need more of that in all the other provinces, so that not everyone feels like I must run to Joburg. Let's tell the stories where the stories are.
Exactly.
That's what we ought to all be doing.
Yes, you know, and that's what I was talking about this morning as well, and I was saying that, you know, more than anything, it's been about. I think what's also made me. It seems like I'm settling in KZN, but I've just always loved the root talent of the city. We just haven't had the same amount of resources, you know, and or opportunities. So there's like span talent, but like maybe 2 or 3 productions.
And I mean, given the amount of talent that just walks through the doors at the Bat Center alone,
exactly,
over the last 25 years,
yes,
we should be seeing a ton more KZN stars out there.
Yes,
like a ton more.
And
you know, from poets to rappers to actors, it's wild that it's not happening.
And that is why I am, you know, for the conversation that Gayton McKenzie is having towards arts and culture.
Minister Gayton McKenzie. Get it right.
Minister.
Carry on.
Minister Gayton McKenzie. Olo. Sorry.
It's fine.
That part of that conversation about royalties and funding and all of that kind of stuff and expanding, you know, the expansive work, you know, and how honestly if we had like KZN has so much, and every city has its own story and its own talent.
Absolutely.
But there is so much hidden talent there. And that's been the thing that makes me feel like I'm learning something new every single year. There is, like, not just acting, poetry, rapping, there's dancing, there is people who are triple threats, quadruple threats, like, you know, writers, all of that kind of stuff. It's like, just trust us, and also for us to trust ourselves too.
And already Zulu culture in itself is packageable and sellable. That in itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We have quite a rich culture.
Absolutely. So you know, whether you're going to the rolling rural hills or to the cities, there's talent everywhere.
Yeah.
So shout out Stained Glass. You guys are doing a great job. And you must continue shining the light on KZN talent.
Yes.
Shout out to you guys. Listen, we are out of time. I'm being shouted at.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I had a whole prep sheet here. I have not asked you a single question from my prep sheet because we're having a chat.
Yeah,
I threw it out. But I want to thank you, one, for agreeing to do the interview, for flying to Johannesburg to do the interview.
For sure.
I know you're going to fly back home now.
Yes.
What are you grateful for this week? Apart from being number one on Netflix.
I'm grateful for saying yes when I did. And I'm grateful that I'm still here to see the evidence of that yes.
Oh, yes.
That's what this week is plunging my face into. It's saying, even if you're running, you know, and so that's what I'm just grateful for the initial yes, the opportunity to make an offering and the reception of that offering.
Oh, yes.
Humbling, awe-inspiring. I all of it to Umdali, and I'm grateful to be a trustworthy vessel. Thank you to everybody that said we trust you, Seni.
Sure.
And that I'm seeing the fruits of that labor in a positive way that I appreciate more. And who would have thought, you know, DJ Fresh,
who'd have thunk
it would
it?
have been saying, listen, Kel, Waza.
I want the whole cast. I want the whole cast. You guys must queue up there. You guys must queue up there at the door.
Yes, bring them in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. But thank you so much for your support and being so open about your review and it being a good one at that. We appreciate it. All we wanted to do was make you all proud. So
Thanks
we
for
hope
joining
we did.
us, and thanks for the talent.
Of course.
And for the tears.
It's okay.
She of the boy's name. Why do you have a boy's name?
Oh, I was named after my uncle. And I'm so proud of that name. Sibongiseni,
sure.
you know, it means thankfulness.
Yes.
My middle name's Ntokozo, which is joy and happiness, and Lonkolego, which is freedom. I think that's prophetic over my life.
Absolutely.
And it's what I chase after every day.
It's also a very big page in your ID when they're all spelled out.
Yes, no. It actually goes on to the next. It goes after the blocks.
There's 2 dots.
Yes.
Turn the page to be continued.
To be continued, yes. But yeah, that's and I love it. It makes me uniquely.
Sure. Dude, as long as you are telling stories, teaching kids, we'll continue shouting your name from the rooftops. We'll continue supporting you. And we'll continue to be your cheerleaders.
Thank you so
kick ass, dude.
much.
And please don't get off the horse again.
Noted.
You have a lot to offer, you have a lot to give, you have a lot of inspiring to do. So don't get off the horse. Like your dad said, that girl, that's who we want all the time.
Noted, sir. And I will respond to the call and say yes.
If that girl inspired your dad, then look in the mirror when you're not feeling inspired.
Okay, do you want a second rollout? They're that quick. They're very quick.
Tears 2.0. Seni Shezi. Hashtag the crier is back.
Yeah.
In a world where women are forced to be strong, she didn't care. She would cry even at the perfection of a fat cook. Seni Shezi, in fat cooks, deserve love too. Thanks
There's
for joining us.
strength in tears and vulnerability, sir.
Dude, that's why I'm an unashamed crier.
Yes.
Because it's an outlet, it's a valve release, and then you
Yes.
keep it moving.
Yes, that's how we keep the inner child a little nestled.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, if I don't say goodbye right now, we'll not say goodbye. Please make some noise for Sibongiseni, Ntokozo, Nonkululeko, Shezi.
Yeah.
Why are you reminding me when I've got a brain and
I'm
can
so
think?
sorry. People always mix it up. I didn't want you to make a mistake.
I mix nothing up, dude.
Washa?
Nothing.
Yes, King. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Queen is about to leave the building. Please support local productions.
Yes.
Watch Umjolo, the Gone Girl.
Yes.
And she and the entire team kicked ass. And it's shot like, it's beautiful.
Shout out to Tito Trill, Tiani.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody, Ash, everybody.
Please save that for when you get the award.
Oh, okay,
Right now
sorry.
you're doing your
I'm
acceptance
so sorry.
speech.
Oh, I'm so
Doing an
sorry.
acceptance speech.
I would say it almost every day. That's why Tamega said that. I'm all about encouragement. Everybody's amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, she is about to leave the building.
Okay,
Please switch
so
off her
yeah.
camera,
Okay.
otherwise she won't leave. Thank you for joining us. Another episode of Wow, What a Week with another incredible name that if you didn't know, hopefully you now know or are busy Googling as we speak. We'll do this again next week, right here at AMP Studios, downtown Johannesburg. We are part of the Africa Podcast Network. Email us at waw@africapodcastnetwork.com. Shout out Trevor and his team at Pezulu Works for all of the cinematography, and to our executive producer, Geletso Mudisakeng.
Yes.
Till next week, have a wow week in spite of yourselves. We're out of here.
Yay.